Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video here on the Jersey Aviator channel. I'm your host, Mr. Don't Let the Dots Touch, Mr. I fly Airbuses for real, but can't fly them in a sim because it doesn't feel the same, and I use that as an excuse when my landings are crap and my centerline awareness is absolute garbage. Glad you're back. So, what's this video about, right? What are we talking about, Joe? Today, I wanted to go over one very specific procedure out of the New York area that I constantly see pilots mess up. And that would be, as many of you know it, as the SKORR5 departure out of Kennedy. Now, why are we making this video? Because I've made this video before, but from the perspective of a video map. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump on in to the simulator cockpit of an A320. And what we're going to do is we are going to fly this procedure for real in the sim so that you can see how it's supposed to be executed. We're going to talk about why this matters and why on the VATSIM network or any online network when you're flying your sim, why it is so damn important to get this procedure right. We'll go over all that. You guys will see us take off here in the Airbus and fly the procedure. It's a very, very simple procedure. You just need to follow the magenta line. I know. For those of you real-world aviators, we all know the joke about the magenta line pilots. But in this case, it is an RNAV, area navigation procedure. You do, in fact, need to know how to follow the magenta line on this SID. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, here we are in the cockpit of the A320, right now sitting on runway 31 left here at Kennedy. Right now, I do not have the aircraft configured for takeoff. I haven't uploaded V-speeds or anything like that yet. Why do I have my headphones on right now? I don't need my headphones on for that. Before we just take off, that would be the first problem, and I know a lot of pilots do it. You need to brief the SID. Okay. What the hell is a SID? Standard Instrument Departure. But Jersey Aviator, I don't have enough money for Navigraph charts and whatnot. The FAA publishes these documents for free. Just Google them. Yes, they're not as pretty as JEP charts. I understand that. It's going to be okay. But I don't know how to read government plates. They don't look as pretty. I understand. It'll be okay. YouTube's a magical place. After you watch this video, Google how to brief a government SID, an FAA SID. I promise, the info's out there. I believe in you, kid. So, we need to brief the SID before ever executing a SID. So, we're going to move this on over. And we can see here a bunch of airways and fixes and VORs and all that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go to Kennedy. When we open this up here, we're going to go to SID. We can see here the SKORR5 RNAV departure. And here it is in all its glory. I'm going to make myself a little smaller. Here's the SID. There's a lot going on, a lot of lines, a lot of colors. It's not as bad as a Lido chart, which has a lot more colors, but here it is. What are we doing, Joe? I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. It's all right. Guys, JEP makes it easy. Read the right side. Use your eyes. Remember in third grade when you learned to read a book? If you learned to read a book in third grade and not kindergarten or first grade, you got there. But here we are again with this whole reading thing. Okay. Ignore the town fire alarm. I don't know what that's called. It's not a tornado horn because we don't have tornadoes here in New Jersey. Well, we do. I'm getting sidetracked right now. I'm going to make a quick edit till that thing's done. Okay, now that that's done, where were we? We were talking about the SID here. So, first thing we're looking at here, I should actually probably open up Light Shot really quick. Okay. First thing we're looking at, that. What does it say, guys? RNAV SID, meaning Area Navigation SID. If you're not Area Navigation equipped and you do not have RNAV1, DME, IRU, or GPS, you cannot fly this. If you are flying slant alpha, VOR to VOR, you cannot fly this. Ask for the Kennedy departure with a climb. Ask for the Kennedy 5 with a climb, they'll accommodate it. But for the majority of you flying the big airliners, you're slant Lima, RNAV capable, RVSM equipped, all that fun jazz. Okay, so transition altitude 18,000. That doesn't matter to us right now. We're not going to sweat that. Radar required. We need to be having radar. You know, we gotta have ATC looking at us saying, "There's the blip, bippity bip." Here's the biggest thing. This was added only a few months ago, and I'm going to put a bunch of arrows here because this on VATSIM is the biggest problem that we all face as controllers and drives us insane. Right here, right here, right here, right here. I think we get the point. Departing runway 31 left requires expeditious intercept of outbound course 238 to SKORR. Expeditious. Not take your time, make a pizza, give it to grandma to put her special oregano on. Expeditious. Do it now. Now, what the hell does that mean? Expeditious intercept of outbound course 238 to SKORR. Let's get out of that. If we go down here, we're going to see an inset. And we can see the pathway. 99% of the time, you'll be departing 31 left out of Kennedy. Okay? Okay. So, when we're doing that, that expeditious intercept of that 238, it's right there, guys. So, you're taking off here. You're rolling down the runway, and you're climbing out. And you're noticing that you're going to need to turn almost immediately to get to SKORR. Well, what is 238 in reference to, Joe? I don't understand. In all cases, really, your GPS and your navigation system and your MCDU and your FMS and insert technology that your airplane has here is going to load this in for you, but it's essentially the course to the intersection of SKORR. It operates on the similar mentality of a radial. You can think of it like that. It's a 238 radial to the station. But in this case, it's 238 course to SKORR. Now, the biggest problem that people seem to have on VATSIM that I've witnessed is people, for some reason, have this weird inkling that when they are going to Boston or they're going to Europe and they have an exit fix of, let's say, Grecki or Merritt, that they feel as though they own the New York airspace. So they'll take off this way, and instead of doing as the procedure says, they'll just keep going like this and say, oh, well, I'm going to go direct Merritt now, and I'm going to now turn this way. Please don't do that. You're now in LaGuardia's airspace. If LaGuardia is landing the ILS-4, you're climbing into an aircraft that's descending to 3,000 or 2,000 in some cases on the ILS-4. You're going to crash into them. I promise you, you will. Please don't do it. Okay? Okay. Good talk. Never make the right turn. If you're assigned the SKORR and you're making a right turn, there is a problem. Unless air traffic control for some reason tells you to make a right turn, do not make a right turn. Make a left turn. Left, left, left. Left. You hit SKORR, and then it's going to depend upon which transition you're assigned. There are two transitions, dos. There is the Yankee transition, and there is the Ranger transition. I'm going to give you a little insight here, guys. Get a little closer. Come here. If you're going to Ranger, that means that you're probably going southbound. If you're going northbound, maybe westbound, maybe eastbound, you're going to get the Yankee transition. the most common fix going south out of Kennedy is going to be Robbinsville, RBV. If you are assigned Ranger, do not go direct to Robbinsville. Go to SKORR, METS, and Ranger. And then you'll get radar vectors. If you're going pretty much anywhere else, I'm excluding a couple of fixes that Ranger services. But Yankee, for the most part, covers almost every exit gate out of Kennedy, except for a couple south where Ranger takes over. Listen to the controller. If you are assigned the SKORR5 departure, Ranger transition, please load in the transition, because if you stop at SKORR, there's going to be a problem. Because the plane will just keep going on a 238, not know where to go because you got a disco. Worst case, you think that you're a smart aleck and you put Robbinsville right after SKORR. That's not going to work out well for LaGuardia, because guess what? That's LaGuardia's airspace. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. I'm just trying to help. We see that we're 314 heading, then an expeditious turn 230 to SKORR. Then we transition to either Yankee or Ranger. That depends on your next course off of SKORR. You're either going to go 225 or 183, depending upon where you're going. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay. All of this stuff, really not much to sweat. You can see this little black box. That's what we just briefed. We just talked about this. For initial climb and transitions, refer to inset. Again, that whole reading thing, guys. We go back to first grade, third grade for some of you. The reading. It's a big thing. Okay. Let's see here. Initial climb. Runway 31 left. Climb on heading 314 to intercept course 238 to SKORR. Wow. 31 right. 314 to intercept course 243 to SKORR. Cool. Routing. This is what people bust as well. Routing. 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 Maintain 5,000. Expect clearance to filed altitude flight level 10 minutes after departure. Please God, when you are told to climb via the SID, that means obey these crossing restrictions. You'll notice there's a line under and the number above. That means cross SID at or above 2,500. METS at or above 2,500. This does not mean you should be at 1,000 feet buzzing the south shoreline of Long Island, saying hello to all the beachgoers who are there to enjoy their summer day, playing in the ocean, living their dream, little kid building a sandcastle. Do not buzz the shoreline in your 777. Please, God. METS at or above 2,500. SESID at or above 2,500. We see there are no other restrictions after this, guys. After this, bang up to 5,000 and stop. Don't go higher. Don't go lower. Don't go over to grandma's house to do a turnaround a point. Stop. 5,000. The only exception is if the air traffic controller tells you to climb and maintain 7,000 or 11,000 or 10,000 or 17,000. Then you can break that. But as per this SID, we expect you to cross METS or SESID at or above 2,500, and you are going to level off at $5,000. All right? It's honestly that simple, guys. Let's hop in the sim. Now, here we are in 3-1 left, guys. Guys, on the network, you should not be spawning on a runway. I'm off network right now because this is a tutorial on how to fly a SID properly out of Kennedy. So, I haven't even loaded the box yet with the SID because I wanted to walk you through, if you're flying an Airbus, how to load this SID properly. We have Kennedy to Kennedy right now, just so I have a test flight plan in here to show you guys. You go to L1. That is your departure airport. Click departure. The first thing you select is the runway. 3-1 left is the runway we're going to use. There's the SID right there, SKORR5. Now, I already can hear you. I have you sitting there miles away from me and I hear you. And I guarantee you it's something along the lines of, but just give me your, I don't see a SKORR5 departure, SKORR4 departure, or a SKORR2 departure. What do I do? Okay, relax. All right, settle down. She's getting all upset. Don't get upset. It's supposed to be fun. The reason that you're not seeing an updated departure procedure is because you have an out-of-date AIRAC cycle. Now, an AIRAC cycle is just a fancy word. I'm not going to give you the full definition. It's somewhere down there. It's a fancy word for updated charts data and navigational computation data for the computer. That's the easiest way to put it. So anytime the FAA or ICAO or whatnot updates a departure procedure or an approach or a STAR or a fix, all of that is in the next AIRAC cycle, which is every 28 days, I think. Now, as you can see here, I have the SKORR5. If you have the SKORR4, that's okay. Not much has changed. You're going to be perfectly fine. If you don't see the major turn on there, then that's a problem. But just advise the controller if you're on a network, if you don't have it. We're usually more than accommodating and understanding as long as you have the turn. Okay? Don't sweat it. But you're an idiot. I want them. Okay, I'm glad that you want it. Go get your credit card. Go get your debit card. Maybe go to your money market savings account or whatever you got there. Maybe PayPal. Maybe go open a lemonade stand. Get a few bucks. Go on a Navigraph. Purchase their data plan. Boom. Magical. They got a great tool. It uploads to the computer. Boom. Your plane goes zoom zoom in 2024. You got it. You're good. All right. So after that little lecture, let's load this departure procedure. JFK. That's our departure. Click departure. And you're going to go to runway 31 left. And we have the SKORR5. Click it. What are those right there, guys? Didn't we just talk about those? These two little things here? Oh, the transition. That's what it means. I don't want to change the switching panel. The transition. Ranger, Yankee. In this case, I'm going to go to Merit or something just as a test. So I'm going to click Yankee. Again, you'll be assigned this by ATC. Runway 31 left, SKORR5 Yankee, insert. Magical. Here we go. Now, everyone's like, okay, I clicked the button, I'm good to go. No, you're not good to go, champ. Verify what you're looking at. Computers make mistakes. Are you going to really say, oh, the autopilot, it was running away? Then disconnect the autopilot and fly the damn airplane, is what I always say. But we verify the data. We see 420 is the altitude, heading 314 to 420. The plane will then make the turn to SKORR, SKORR, 238 course, bearing 255. 238 is the course. Then it's going to go to SESID, then Yankee. Then what we're going to see is a discontinuity. That disco is essentially saying, hey, I'm not going to do anything after this because this is not a transition to a route. So all I have to do here is I'm going to put in Merit as a fix, just as an example here. Insert. Now, if it looks like this right now, this is how you see it, this is a problem. And the reason is because if you let the FMC or your FMGS or whatever system your aircraft has, if you allow it to do this, it's going to go straight from Yankee to Merit. And you can verify this by looking right at your plan view here. So we go into the plan mode and we can see all the fixes. I'm going to zoom in a little more. Now, the easiest way for me to do this is sort of zoom out because I have to click through the fixes. We see Yankee, we see Merit, but we can see that it's an entire curve, which means it's a flyby waypoint, and it's just going to go to Merit. We do not want that. It is not your job to transition yourself to your routing. It's air traffic control's job. So if you do have that, don't sweat it. Clear the fix out. Insert. Beautiful. We can now see that the disco is back. Over the KJFK waypoint, I'm just going to do MERIT. Boom. And that will insert it above. Whatever line you click, it's going to insert it above. This is good. And the reason is we'll look back up. Let's just see if I can do this a little cleaner for you guys here. We can look back up here. Well, only if I put it into plan view. There we go. And we rotate that to 10 miles. And we move over here. Now, flight plan. We can see now there's a line that's shooting over there and a line that's shooting over here. We see SKORR, SESID, Yankee. And then there's no continuation of the line. It stops because there's a discontinuity. It's now air traffic control's job to bring you where you need to be. Merit's over there, but it's not connected to anything. Yankee doesn't connect to Merit, which is correct. Be sure to verify that because there are many times where the plane will accidentally put it there if you click the wrong button, and then it's going to transition itself. Be sure to check that before you take off. There should be a discontinuity. All right, so here we are, ready to go. Everything's set. We're good to go. 5,000 feet is set as our final altitude. If we look at our ND, we can see SESID has a crossing restriction of 2,500. Everything here looks good to go. Let's take off. Let's do this departure, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Manflex SRS runway auto thrust. $80 knots. A little bit of wind here. Wow, a lot of bit of wind. Jesus. Excuse the departure here, guys. Jesus. V1 rotate. Jeez, this is a terrible takeoff. Alright, positive rate. Gear up. And we see nav. I'm going to throw the autopilot on. Can see nav right here. And we can see immediately it's starting to get back on that original runway heading course because I did a terrible departure with my side stick because I'm not using rudder pedals. Remember the excuse I mentioned in the beginning of the video. So we can see here, 1,000 feet. It's starting the turn. We're turning on this departure to SKORR. It's an immediate turn. As the plane's climbing out, we are doing nothing. It's just flashing lever climb, hold the D10 back, thrust climb, climb auto thrust. And now we know that it's climbing to SKORR and our top altitude is going to be 5,000 feet. So it's going to keep going. Now I can reduce one notch flaps, so flaps 1. And here we are. We're crossing over SKORR right now. SKORR's right here. Let's zoom in a little better. SKORR's just north of the old Canarsie VOR. You can see we're at 2,600 feet, still climbing all the way up here. And we're above S speed, flap 0. Can stow those spoilers as well. And there we go. Now it's transitioning from SKORR to SESID. And it's flying the departure. If we look outside, we can see Long Island. Actually, visibility is terrible. We're actually about to go in the clouds. And the aircraft's accelerating 250 knots because that's the max speed you can do below 10,000 feet in the US. So we're at 4,500 feet. We have a speed out star, which means altitude's capturing. And we're noticing it is now leveling off at 5,000 feet. It met the crossing restriction at SESID above 2,500 feet, so it obeyed that. And now it's going to transition from SESID to Yankee. Now, for some reason, air traffic control wants to vector you off a little bit early. Very common in New York. All right, Pilot 1234, turn left heading 070, climb and maintain 1000. All right, 070, 1000. We pull heading, turn to 070. And we'll put 1000 in the box and pull for open climb, thrust climb, open climb. And now the aircraft is in heading mode, as we see here. And we can see that the heading selected is 070. 070 is here. Heading mode, open climb, altitude capture, 11,000 feet. Now we're just getting vectored. Now we know the controller is probably vectoring us to where? We know he's going to be vectoring us, hopefully, to Merit. You can see Merit's over here. But let's say he's vectoring us around here and there a little bit, bada bing, bada boom. And just to save time in the video, he clears us for direct Merit. All right, pilot 1234, you're clear direct Merit, or proceed direct Merit. All right, we'll proceed direct Merit for pilot 1234. Direct Merit insert. The aircraft will automatically go into nav mode to Merit, and that's it. Now, notice that it's going to turn back to Kennedy because Kennedy is the next waypoint that's in here. That wouldn't happen on your real flight plan, but you get the idea. That's how you fly the SKORR5 departure. It is really that easy. The takeoff was terrible because I'm using a side stick in my wrist to do the rudder and insert excuse here, but it's honestly that simple, guys. As long as you know how to program it and you know how to verify the data, your plane will be able to fly it. Just don't make those critical mistakes that I mentioned before. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a like and a subscription because that does help the channel grow. And I will see you guys all on the next video.